In today's video, we're going to compare two other games. Today, we're going to compare Unturned versus Surroundead. Both games that I absolutely love. Both very similar in a lot of aspects, but they are completely different in other. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more, make sure to drop a like. Let me know what games you guys would like to see compared in the future. And let's get straight into it. How many giraffes can you fit on one screen? Is it 4? Is it 8? Nope. It's literally all of them. Welcome to Leap of Fate, a physics-powered multiplayer party platform where wobbly giraffes race through outrageous obstacle courses to reach the rocket ship first. Every stumble, every flip, and spectacular faceplant is driven by real physics, and it's absolutely ridiculous. There are no player limits, you keep plugging in the controllers, let your friends join with their phones. The more players you add, the more gloriously chaotic every round becomes. This isn't just a normal party game that survives a crowd, it literally thrives on one. Whether you're making impossible jumps, accidentally launching your friends into space, or creating the biggest giraffe traffic jam ever seen, no two matches play the same. Every victory feels earned, and every failure is comedy gold. Leap of Fate launches July 17, 2026 on Steam. The demo is live right now, so jump in and experience the chaos today. And don't forget to wishlist it on Steam so you're ready when the full game launches. Make sure to check out, the link will be in the description below. Every survival game promises the same start. You wake up with nothing, you have no weapons, no shelter, no supplies. It's just you versus the world. Today we're comparing two zombie survival games that on the surface look surprisingly similar. On one side we have Unturned, which is a game that's been around for over a decade, built by one developer and somehow became one of Steam's biggest survival successes. And then on the other, there's Surroundead, a much newer indie survival game that takes inspiration from classics like DayZ and Project Zomboid, while trying to modernize the experience. Both games drop you in an open world full of zombies. Both lets you build bases, loot abandoned towns, manage hunger and thirst, and fight to survive. But which one actually delivers the best survival experience? Before comparing mechanics, it's important to understand what each game is trying to be. Unturned is fast, the movement is quick, and loot is everywhere, and combat happens quite often. You can go from spawning on the beach to raiding a military base in less than 20 minutes, if you know what you are doing. If you die in this game, it's not the end of the world. You just start over, it's simply just another run. As for Surroundead, this is completely different, it is very slower. Travel takes longer, resources are more valuable, and ammo isn't something you casually waste. Instead of rewarding speed, the game rewards planning. Before entering a town, you're already thinking about your escape routes, inventory space, and whether the loot is even worth the risk. The atmosphere is much more deliberate, and you aren't racing towards endgame gear, you're just trying to survive another day. Now let's talk about graphics and the atmosphere. Unturned's graphics are quite blocky. For years, people dismissed it as a Minecraft with basically guns and more zombies. But that's also been part of its identity. The low-poly art style ages surprisingly well, because it allows huge maps, excellent performance, and large multiplayer servers, and it also gives it its own charm. As for Surroundead, this takes a more realistic approach. Buildings feel abandoned, forests feel dense, lighting creates genuine tension during the night, and weather actually changes the mood of exploration. Instead of looking charming, it aims to feel lonely. And it does succeed. Walking through an empty town while distant zombies groan creates tension, and Unturned rarely matches. That's not because Unturned lacks atmosphere, it's because its faster pacing doesn't leave much room for it. You're usually sprinting towards your next objective. As we mentioned before, Surrounded encourages you to slow down. Now let's talk about combat. Combat reveals another huge difference. Unturned feels arcade-like, weapons are responsive, headshots matter, melee combat is straightforward. Once you're geared, zombies become more of an inconvenience than a threat. The real danger often comes from other players. PvP has always been Unturned's biggest strength, because there's always large PvP fights, raids, ambushes, and the entire server can revolve around PvP. Surroundead focuses much more on PvE. Zombies remain dangerous for much longer. If you swing a melee, you're required to time it. Gunfire attracts attention. If you run into a horde without preparation, you can quickly just die and end and have to restart all over again. Combat feels heavier, it's more deliberate, and every encounter costs something. Sometimes it's ammo, sometimes it's durability, and sometimes it's medical stuff. In this game, you don't really fight because you want to fight, it's because you have to in order to survive, which is obviously much different than Unturned. When I play Unturned, I'm always trying to just find PvP and find something to shoot, or else I would feel like it's boring. As for Surroundead, is the complete different, because with it, you usually try to avoid fighting actually. Now let's talk about exploration. Exploration is where both games shine. Unturned has an incredibly variety of maps. There are a lot of maps such as Russia, Germany, Hawaii, Washington, with the latest additions such as Rio 2, California 2, Bua, Limestone, and then there's literally hundreds of community maps, each of them having its own unique landmarks, military areas, hidden bunkers, custom progression system, and quests. Exploration literally never ever runs out. As for Surroundead, it currently offers a smaller world, but every location feels handcrafted. Instead of rushing from loot spawn to loot spawn, you actually search buildings. You open cabinets, you check garages, you explore basements. Looting feels slower, but feels much more rewarding. If you find a backpack in Surrounded, it actually matters quite a lot. And if you find a better weapon, it makes you feel excited. Finding your first vehicle can completely change your game. As for Unturned, these are super common, and traveling is much quicker. Are you guys trying to set up your own Unturned server but you don't really know where to start? Then Pine Hosting has you covered. Pine Hosting is very user friendly and not hard at all to master. I literally had no idea how to do anything, but with Pine Hosting's navigation and super easy interface, I learned the basics very shortly. They have locations all around the world, cheap pricing, and they also offer a variety of games. There's not just Unturned servers, they have other game servers such as Minecraft, Ark, Project Zomboid, Rust, and a lot more. My favorite feature from Pine Hosting is the plugin and workshop installer. With just a simple click, you guys can install certain plugins. And make sure to use code LDG for 30% off, and let's get straight back into the video. Now let's talk about survival mechanics. Unturned includes the basics. There are food, water, medical supplies, radiation zones, and then there's the obvious when it comes to fuel, when it comes to vehicles, durability, and that's it. But when it comes to Surroundead, it constantly pressures you. You're managing hunger, hydration, fatigue, medical supplies, inventory weight, weapon condition, storage, fuel, your overall preparedness, and you rarely feel completely safe, even after you build a base. That constant uncertainty is what makes a survival game memorable. It's not just the zombies, it's the fear of running out of what you need. You can easily die, both of them, from food, and I feel like dying from Surrounded from food is actually much more common. Now let's talk about building. Base building exists in both games, but again with both different priorities. Unturned's building system is much more flexible because players can build massive fortresses, entire cities, basically whatever they want. They can do compounds, PvE hubs, and they're easily to protect, whereas especially with sentries and all of that. The only downside is obviously offline raiding if you're on a multiplayer server. But let's go to single player. If you're on single player and you just build whatever you want, it's quite easy. When it comes to Surrounded, it's much more different. It feels like Surrounded base building. When you build a base, it feels more like a safe house, because over there you organize your loot, you craft equipment, you repair gear, store food, and much more. Surrounded pushes you towards stability. It makes you think if you can survive for another week, if you have enough food, if you have all of your equipment repaired. Now let's talk about multiplayer. Well, when it comes to multiplayer, obviously this category isn't really fair because multiplayer is where Unturned built its legacy. There are literally thousands of servers, roleplay, PvP, PvE, creative, modded, vanilla, anything that you would like, it's there. As for Surrounded, currently is just single player. You can't really play Surrounded as multiplayer, unfortunately, but I do know that in the future it is a plan. But I honestly think once Surrounded multiplayer comes out, that game is going to be huge. Obviously, this does depend on the player. Some players prefer playing single player, some players prefer playing multiplayer. There's no toxic players, no offline raids, and you don't lose weeks of progress overnight. Now let's go over replayability. Replayability depends entirely what you are looking for. If you enjoy multiplayer, PvP, raiding, different servers, different rules, different mods, different maps, Unturned is obviously your go-to. But if you prefer immersive survival, if you prefer every single run becomes its own story, then Surrounded is yours. If you just want to sit back, relax, not having to worry about some player raiding all of your bases overnight, Surrounded is definitely your kind of game. Surrounded gives more of a zombie apocalypse kind of vibe. When it comes to Unturned though, it doesn't really do that anymore. What Unturned gives off is just survival sandbox with your friends, chaos, PvP, shooting, raiding. That's the vibe that it gives, so it is quite different, obviously. So that leaves us to the end. Which game is actually better? Now this answer depends on each person and what they want from a survival game. If you want fast progression, massive multiplayer servers, and a lot of different content with mods, custom maps, then Unturned is definitely yours. Especially considering that it is free. But if you're looking for immersion, atmosphere, meaningful survival mechanics, slower progression, and a game where every bullet actually matters, Surroundead might offer the experience you've been searching for. Surroundead captures something many survival games lose over time. That feeling that survival itself is the objective. It's not about reaching endgame, not collecting the strongest weapons, simply just making it through another day. Unturned is a survival sandbox, Surrounded is a survival simulation. So this does depend on you. Let me know if you guys have played these games, let me know what you guys prefer, and let me know if you guys are gonna check out any of these games after this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!